And we are live. Welcome, mystery and thriller fans. I'm your on-air host, Sarah DeVello, and I'm so excited to welcome tonight the incredible Tabrizia Jones. She is the founder of Cup of Tea with That Book, Please, and Dueling Detectives, and she is also a senior librarian on a mystery book committee in charge of picking the best book of the year for the New York City Public Library. And we got a lot to talk about. Tabrizia, welcome to Mystery and Thriller Mavens. Tell us about all the stuff you got going on.
Oh, thank you so much, Sarah, for having me. So hi everyone. Yes, I'm a senior librarian at the New York Public Library. One of the programs that I do at the library is Dueling Detectives. I co-founded it with my other fellow mystery lover, Adina Gruskin. I don't know if she's watching, but hi, Adina. We both are big mystery lovers, and we decided to have this dueling detective program where we put two literary detectives against one another, and we decide, and we give the audience to decide who would solve the case first. And it is we started it during the pandemic when we can only do virtual programs, and I want to say in our third year, and it is still one of my favorite programs that I absolutely love doing, and it's very popular. We always have return attendees coming and giving us ideas, and always love the debate that Adina and I give, saying like, oh hey, here's a character says this is why this detective would solve the case first, and this is why this detective would solve the case first. So it's just always been a joy to do.
Yay. Well, this is so cool, and I can't wait to get the inside scoop on all of this. Margaret joining us live from Portland, Oregon, saying, ooh, I love this twist on on the format. Yay. Margaret, welcome to the conversation. She wants to know, are there dueling banjos involved in this dueling detective?
No, we're good. Adina and I, we're very cordial. We're very nice. Like, we tried to make our convincing argument. We usually choose detectives that either we both really love, and also that have a good amount of series, a good amount of books in the series. And then also we try to introduce our audience to new series. Like, even though we went to the classic ones, Miss Marple or Hercule Poirot, we also tried to introduce our audience to newer series. Like last month we did, for Women's History Month, we did Electra McDonald and Fidelia Bright. So these are two upcoming series by Ashley Weaver and Colleen Cambridge. So yeah, I could go on which detectives we have used, because we've used a lot. We've gone to famous detectives like Hercule Poirot and even Sherlock Holmes. Like, for Sherlock Holmes, we had a hard time deciding. Like, we didn't know who to pit against Sherlock Holmes, because Sherlock Holmes he's just so great. He's no one can really compete against him. So we just decided to do which person or actor who did the best Sherlock Holmes, whoever that actor was, who would solve the case first. So that one was a lot of fun. A lot of people enjoyed that, and also a lot of our audience members said like, "Oh, you forgot this." Sherlock Holmes was like, "We can only do a certain amount." So but it's always a lot of fun to do.
Oh my gosh, Julie, welcome to the conversation, asking which detectives have you used? And I think we are all leaning in for the scoop on the detectives. I'm loving this. What a fabulous, fun idea. Margaret saying, what about, you got to put Holmes against himself in some different format. What a great idea. Sweet Liz, welcome to the conversation, joining us from YouTube. She says, but are there stakes? How do you determine a winner? Yeah, Tabrizia, we need to know.
So yeah, we use a Jamboard.
What is that?
So it's like a Google Jamboard. It's like a virtual bulletin board where you can share with people, and they can edit it in live. So we have this a jam board where we put stars at the bottom and people vote. They put the star over either the character image or the book of the cover, and they put it over the store, like the star over the cover image saying like, oh, this is who I vote for, or they put it into the chat. And it's determined on how well Adina and I made our case to the audience, the
Ooh.
personality, like how convincing have we said, okay, if there was ever a case, you can hire this detective. So that's how we usually determine the winner.
Ooh, so it's almost like you're a lawyer, she's a lawyer, and the audience is the judge. Oh my God, this is so fun, Tabrizia.
Yeah.
This is so fun. Sweet Eliz, thank you for asking the great question. So, hey, everybody, I actually just met Tabrizia at an in-person event a few months ago, and we clicked over our shared love of detectives, mysteries, thrillers, and all of this good stuff. We are, clearly in the right place. And I am here for the inside scoop on the Dueling Detectives. Margaret saying Ashley Weaver and Colleen Cambridge, new names to me. Nice. Those are actually new names to me too. So tell us more about Ashley Weaver and Colleen Cambridge.
So Colleen Cambridge, she has written a lot of mystery novels, but she has written them under different names. So Colleen Cambridge, actually has a new series. I believe it's coming out later this month, Mastering the Art of French Murder. So it's like taking it like I believe it's the fictional best friend of Julia Child,
Oh
and
my God, I
taking
love
and it takes place in historical World War II in Paris. So the main character is solving some murders there, and with her latest series with the Fidelia Bright. So this is the housekeeper, well, the supposed housekeeper of Agatha Christie. So you have the first book in the series, Murder at Mallowan Hall. So of course, Mallowan Hall is where Agatha Christie lived. So if you're looking for a very great, cozy, kind of quick mystery, the Fidelia Bright mystery series is a really great series to pick up. And then you have Ashley Weaver. She has, I believe this is her second series, the Electra McDonald. The first book that I read, A Peculiar Combination, it features Electra McDonald. She's like a great safecracker, but she accidentally breaks into a house with her uncle, who's also like a great safecracker. And this is happening during World War II, where I want to say the government, because I don't know if it never specifically says it's MI5 or MI6. So it says the government, they catch them, but they actually want to use them for a case. So Electra has to go on this code breaking conspiracy case in order to keep her family from serving time in prison. So it is those are both two great books. Adina and I had to read them for the mystery committee that we were on in 2021, and unfortunately those two did not make the list, but it was really close to getting on there. But it was just like very, very they're both really, really great.
Yay. Okay, so I just pulled some links. So, Mastering the Art of French Murder. Here is the link to grab a copy of that. And that is by Colleen Cambridge, starring the fictional Julia Child's best friend. And then we have the Ashley Weaver's new Electra book out May 9th. And here's the link to pre-order that. So the good folks at Murder by the Book will send that out to you as soon as it drops on May 9th. Margaret saying, ooh, Ashley Weaver's got pretty covers. Yes, she sure does. And I actually really I just looked at the first link I posted, Mastering the Art of French Murder, and I love how they've plunged a knife into the book. A fun little play there on Julia Child's Mastering the Art of French Cooking.
Mm-hmm.
So Tabrizia, Margaret saying librarian at the NYPL, hashtag dream jobs. Yes. So I think so many of us book lovers dreamed of being a librarian. I wanted to be a librarian from the time I was 5 years old. And, that's the dream, is either being a librarian or having a little bookshop. So tell us what it's like to be a librarian.
So, unfortunately, we do not get to read all day. I know there's a common perception. We don't get to read all day. We do, it's a lot of like people interaction, and there's a lot of like shelving and collection development, so making sure that we have like a lot of the latest books on our collection. And it can be rewarding, very rewarding to be a librarian, but also can be exhausting because you're working with members of the public, and they can sometimes be a little testy sometimes. But it when for like me, if you get to work around books, that's just the greatest pleasure that you can get from all of it. So it's just like it is like a wonderful thing to be a librarian. It wasn't my first job, but it is like I absolutely love doing it. I get to meet great people, including readers and authors and other librarians. So it just brings a lot of wonderful opportunities for me.
Oh my gosh, Teresa, if you could see the streams of hearts just shooting up on Facebook, it's just these shooting streams of hearts. Everyone is loving what you're saying, sending you so much love.
Oh, thank you.
This is so cool. And yeah, I think it's a dream just to get to the idea of getting to work around books all day. And to be in, so many of us book lovers are introverts, so get to be in a quiet space surrounded by the deep silence of a library and around those books would be so wonderful. Sweet Eliz, oh, thank you for all the hearts, you guys. It's just so wonderful seeing them all up. It's so beautiful. Sweet Eliz saying, but what an incredible workplace. I would never get tired of walking in the doors. Margaret saying, still to come, scientific research supporting the medicinal benefit of all those lignans being inhaled all day. I love it.
Yeah. It is like that is a thrilling thing, especially when you're opening a new box of books and you just
Oh,
have that the new book smell, even a combination of the plastic and the mylar. You just have that new book smell. It's nothing compares to it. And also getting a new book in our bins and stuff like that is always it's always a pleasure to see.
oh my gosh, that new book smell. But you know what else is really delicious? That old book smell. So I just borrowed a book from the library from the 1960s, and it still has, the library card in it from where you had to punch the, put your
Yeah.
stamp in of when it was due back. And I
Mhm.
just opened it and stuck my nose in. It was oh my gosh, I just love it. And thinking of all the hands that have held and loved this book. So yes, that new book smell, that old book smell. Oh my gosh, we are clearly in amongst our people, Tabrizia.
Yes.
Margaret saying Phillida Bright. What a British name, LOL. Yes, it's such a
It
British
is.
name. So, Tabrisha, I know it's always hard to pick a favorite. Nobody wants to pick their favorite kid, but we all have a favorite kid. So, who's your favorite detective? We have to know.
Ah, Nancy Drew.
Nancy Drew. Nancy
She,
Drew.
yeah, she's the reason why I fell in love with mysteries, why I love mysteries to this day. I always think of fond memories of going to the library and getting the latest, like all the collections of Nancy Drew books. So it's like I always wanted to go to the library and get as much as I can. My mom had to stop me. She's like, "No, you're gonna forget." And I would read through them all. I read through the original Nancy Drew, and then I read through the variations, like when she was a kid and when she went to college. So I absolutely love Nancy Drew. She's one of my favorites, and I always like I always go back to her because she's just always so comforting to read.
She's always so comforting to read. So I did not know until very recently that Carolyn Keene was a pseudonym and was written by many, many, many people over decades, which I was shocked, somewhat devastated, but mostly just shocked about. And then I found out that an author that I know was one of the Carolyn Keenes.
When I found out that Carolyn Keene was not real, my heart was broken because I really thought when I grew up, because I even told my mom, I was like, I want to meet Carolyn Keene, like I want to meet her. And then
Yeah.
I think it was like when I was in middle grade. I think it was the teacher. They were like, "No, she doesn't exist." I'm like, "What are you talking about? What do you mean she doesn't exist? She wrote all of these books." And like, no, she didn't. Like, it's a pseudonym. My heart broke. I was like, "Oh my god, is everything a lie?" And
You're like,
it
what next? No Santa?
and then I think I went down like a deeper rabbit hole because not only did Carolyn Keene didn't exist, Frank W. Dixon didn't exist, the author of the Hardy Boys. And I was like, wait, what's going on? And it's really funny because Adina and I, one of our first programs of Dueling Detectives, we did a dueling detective between Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys. And we dived into the history of what is called the Stratemeyer Syndicate. And they're the ones who created Carolyn Keene and Frank W. Dixon and all the other series that are under the syndicate that's now owned by Simon and Schuster. And it was kind of heartbreaking to like read like all these series like the Bobbsey twins. And it was like, oh my god, this person's not real either. So it's fascinating and also heartbreaking to find out that like even though Nancy Drew is always my favorite character, one of my favorite detectives, it is heartbreaking to find out that Carolyn Keene is just a pseudonym, does not exist. But yeah, it is really great to find that like, one of your real life favorite authors actually wrote one of the stories for Carolyn Keene of the Nancy Drew series.
I'm just amazed that you learned that in middle school. I just learned it in 2020. Like, I just now learned it, at the age of 42. I can't, I'm still adjusting, but you've known for a while. This is just
Yeah.
wild. Oh my goodness. Margaret's saying it's such a great pen name though. It has that certain ring to it. Totally, totally.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, this is so. Oh, Sweet Liz saying, I read all of the mysteries from the 60s and 70s, Encyclopedia Brown, Harriet the Spy, the Bobbsey Twins, the Hardy Boys, and of course, Nancy Drew. Sweet Liz, you're one of us. You are one of us. Welcome to the conversation. And Margaret saying, I love that Tabrizia's book log has a Jane Austen quote to start: a crying face, love face, and hugs. Sweet Liz saying, and yes, I too was heartbroken. Okay, so we all need to bond over this moment. But nothing will take away the joy of reading them as a young girl. Exactly. We have to try to stay positive. It is a huge shock though to the system. Margaret wants to know, okay, but for real, have you had Mary Russell and Maisie Dobbs go up against anyone?
No, we've had Maisie Dobbs up against, I want to say, Lady Georgiana. I think it was another one of Jacqueline Winspear's series, a character, but I don't remember which one. But we have used Maisie Dobbs up against someone, but I forgot who it was. I think it was like someone who was connected to Queen Elizabeth II. Well, the character was connected to Queen Elizabeth II, but they were such a distant royal relative that they were broke and they needed to be like work as the undercover spy because the queen thought that someone was it, no, I'm sorry. It was Queen Victoria. Queen Victoria. And Queen Victoria thought there was someone trying to upstart her government. And I believe so she had Lady Georgiana as a spy. It was a very quirky kind of cozy mystery. So it's really it. I think that's a good combo, and I will pass that along to Adina because I think that's a good thing that we should do. Mary Russell and Maisie Dobbs. I have to remember that.
I love it. Margaret saying those are her favorites. Okay, Margaret. Ooh, then we have to give Margaret credit for that one.
I will.
Uh, Readers gotta read. Hey, girl. Welcome to the conversation. Always a pleasure to see you pop up. She says, "Hi, what is the book or series other than Agatha Christie's novels that you would recommend to a new mystery reader?" Great question. Tabrizia, what do you say?
So it is kind of, it depends on what kind of mystery you're looking for, because there's as you read a lot of mysteries, there's like, there's the thriller and the suspense, the psychological, and then you have the cozy mystery. So if you are looking for a thriller and a mystery suspense, and you're like a new mystery reader, I would go with try out The Appeal by Janice Hallett. So this was one of my favorite books of
Yes.
2021. And so this is a book that takes place during emails. So the way that Janice Hallett writes this novel is all through emails and letters and text messages. And the reason why I recommended it to I love recommending it to people, especially new mystery readers, is because if you are tired of like the old prose format of like red, like really like the common red herrings, and just like and you're looking for something different and new, The Appeal is like really the best book, the best like new kind of a way of a mystery genre is written. So it takes place in like in a small town where they're having this I want to say a play or a fundraiser for this child who's supposed to be, who is sick, who's getting cancer, who has cancer, and the family needs to raise money to in order for to pay for the cancer treatment. However, there are some questions that arisen due to this fundraiser, and of course a murder happens. And what I really love about this book is like Janice Hatlett, she encourages the reader to go along with the story. It is,
Ooh.
yeah, she really like encouraged the reader to like, even like one of the taglines, like, can you figure out who's the murderer? Because first you have to figure out who, not only who the murderer is, but also the victim, because you don't find out who the victim is like until I want to say probably when there's like about 100 pages left. And it is just like such, I didn't think I would like it because it's a book that was written in emails, like we read emails all the time, but I found myself so engrossed and so hooked trying to figure out who was lying, who was telling the truth. It was just, it was like so amazing. So if you really want like a great thriller and suspense, I would go with that one. If you're going with like psychological or police procedural, I would go with The Jigsaw Man by Nadine Matheson.
Nadine Matheson. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, she is like also just like one of my favorite mystery authors, and it introduces a detective called Inspector Angelica Henley, where she has to have this cat and mouse game with a prisoner that is recently released from not released but escaped from prison. And this was a culprit that she has like endured very severe trauma from, so she has to come back to try to capture this criminal. It is a very intricate police procedural, but also it dives into, about women in the police force itself. It just, it can be gory, just to keep in mind, but it's very realistic. It's very engrossing. I I highly recommend it. So if you, those are the first two for police procedural and psychological, and thriller and suspense. And if you want to go with a cozy mystery, I recommend. I just recently read Against the Current by Olivia Matthews. It was absolutely wonderful. I'm a little biased because it it features a West Indian family, and my family is West Indian. So you have Lindsay. She is opening a Grenadian bakery in Brooklyn, New York, and she has an encounter with a rival baker who feels that she is taking over her turf, and she has an altercation. And then after a couple of days later, he is found to be murdered. She, of course, becomes a prime suspect. So she has to do everything to to clear her name, and also to make sure that her bakery becomes a success without having, like, the marring of this potential criminal investigation that's looming over her. So I can go on and on, recommending mysteries. So those are a good three to start with if you're a new mystery reader.
Readers got to read. Thank you for that wonderful question. And Tabrizia, thank you so much for this fabulous answer. I also love how cozies have really cute punny names. Like, I could never think of cool, clever names like that. So these are such three really wildly different, literally something for everyone. I love Nadine Matheson. I've hosted her every year for every book that's come out. I'm such a huge fan of hers and of her books. So I loved The Jigsaw Man. I just hosted Janice Hallett for her new one, The Twyford Code. And she's so fantastic too. So such great recommendations. Patricia, welcome to the conversation. She's suggesting Rise Bowen books as well. Great recommendation there. Margaret seconding that, saying Georgie is in the Royal Spinus series by Rise Bowen. Or maybe it's Reese. Maybe I'm saying that
I
wrong.
think it's Reese. And yes, Margaret, you're right. It is Georgie, Royal Spinus Reese Bowen. So thank you.
And I love the and Sweet Eliz saying, I so need to read Mary Russell. I can't believe I haven't read it as of yet. Book one has been on my TBR for years. I haven't read Mary Russell yet either, Sweet Eliz. So you are not alone. I'll confess to it as well. She adds, she says, I am dedicating April, my birthday month, to all mysteries. Yes. She says, I love them all, from cozies to dark thrillers, Lady Hardcastle to Leonid McGill. Any new releases must read, any new release must reads that she should add to her TBR. Tabrizia, give us the scoop.
Yeah, so okay, I have one right here, and it will be very familiar to Sarah. It is, I think you can see it. It's The Drift by Cj Tudor. It was absolutely amazing. I could not, I had a trouble putting it down because I was like, I need to know what's happening. Cj Tudor just does such a great job in creating like an enticing thriller and doing so much genre blending, like, horror, thriller, psychological, sci-fi. It was like, it was just like all mixed in. It was like, I definitely, I absolutely love this book. I love this book. And then you, like Sarah just mentioned, The Twyford Code, by Janice Hallett. That was another mystery I absolutely loved. This is, like I said, with the appeal, the Twyford Code. She encourages the reader to try to figure things out, and with this one, she like actually puts in code where you get a chance to decipher it. And I had, like, at the very last page, I had a lot of fun deciphering it. I was like, what's it saying? I need to get a pen and paper. What does it say? And it was just absolutely wonderful. And this one is read in complete transcripts. So, and I don't recommend the audiobook. No offense to the audiobook narrator, but I feel like it's better read in a printed format compared to an audiobook, because I think you will get the feel of what's really going on in the story.
And that's actually a really great point about so Tabrizia, I totally agree with all of that. It was I was worried on the Janice Hallett, the Twyford Code, that it would be hard for me to read, both for the first one, because who the heck wants to read another email? I get too many emails. Or who the heck wants to read, audio transcripts? I was like, oh my God, this is going to be brutal. But the crazy thing is she sucks you right in there. And next thing you know, you forget that they're transcripts, even though some of the transcripts are transcribed wrong in the way that if you dictate your text messages, I do, um, you will, we all know there's some really famous, wrong things out there. Hashtag duck, if you know what I'm talking about. So, they quickly, you just pick it up and you're reading right along. So everybody, here's the link as well to Janice Hallett. Also, I'm noticing, Tabrizia, you like your British writers.
I love British writers. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm very I really so there are some American writers that I will read, like Olivia Matthews, and mostly cozies. But for thriller and suspense, there's anyone like that can do it better than British and Irish authors. I don't know. They have it in their DNA, and I absolutely love it. And maybe I can credit Agatha Christie for like hooking me into them, but it was just like it's absolutely amazing. So anytime that I recommend a mystery writer, it's always going to be, they're either going to be British or Irish, because that's really basically all I read.
Amen. Sweet Alyssa says, thank you for the recommendations that you suggested for her birthday month, which she is dedicating to all mysteries. So fun. Annalie, welcome to the conversation, saying so fun to read more diverse cozies with immigrant communities, neurodiversity, etc. And so fun to read. One thing I love about cozies is the food, because DeBello likes to eat, DeBello likes to cook. So the food component of cozies really works well for me for me as well. And getting to read, Olivia Matthews, the food in her books, and some of the other diverse cultures that we've seen in cozies really start to pick up steam lately. So great to see. Okay, so oh my goodness. Okay, so many readers got to read, saying thank you to Tabrizia for her recommendations. Everyone's wishing a happy birthday month. Margaret says, happy birthday month, sweet Liz. It's hers too. Sweet Liz says she loves Cj Tudor. She's so great. Totally agree. So Tabrizia, what Margaret's seconding your standing of the UK and Irish new releases. Julie wants to know, have you read any Joanna Schaffhausen books? She's her favorite.
I have not. My friend Adina has. She read The Overnight Guest and she immediately recommended it to me. She was like, you have to read this. Like, it's absolutely great. So she's on my list, but I have not read her yet, but I do want to.
Thanks for the great question, Julie. Sweet Liz saying Ellery Adams has a new secret book and scone book coming out. Speaking of cooking and food. Ooh, thanks for the hot tip. I love books with cooking and food in them. So Tabrizia, what other books are exciting you this year? What are you excited to read?
So I have a couple. So I think like the first one I'm reading right now is, going back to British, is The Black House by Carol Johnston.
Ooh,
It
okay.
is an absolute, I loved her debut novel, Maryland. And I was so excited when she said that she was coming out with another book. So this finds a young woman. She is going to the Scottish Highlands, where she has a very dark past. As a child, she said that she was a person, she kept saying that she was this guy and said it in this small village. And apparently this guy, he mysteriously died or mysteriously disappeared. And she didn't know why. She kept saying like, oh, I'm Andrew, like I'm Andrew and stuff like that. So she's coming back to this village to find out their hidden and dark secrets. It's like it has that gothic kind of feel. Carol Johnson very has a very descriptive imagery that just makes you feel like you're there in the Scottish Highlands. So I absolutely so thrilled to read that one. The other one is The Trap by Catherine Ryan Howard. So if you are a fan of Irish fiction, Irish mysteries, you definitely have to pick up Catherine Ryan Howard. The last two books that I read by her, I absolutely loved. I could not the 56 days runtime. They were just so amazing, and I'm so excited for her next book, which comes out in August. I believe it finds herself with the main character setting like a cat and mouse game with a serial killer to find out what really happened with her, what happened to her sister. So I'm really so excited to read that. And you have, let me see. Oh, she has come out with the title, but there's no cover yet. The Kill List by Nadine Matheson. I have emailed her and I told her, when is it coming out? And I think they pushed it back to September. So I really cannot wait for that one. This is the next in the Inspector Angelica Henley series. And I absolutely am so excited to read that one.
Julie, so here's the link to The Trap by Catherine Ryan Howard. Tabrizia also loved Catherine Ryan Howard's last book, Runtime. So I'm going to pop that up in the comments as well. So here are links to those two. So here is that second one as well. Sweet Liz saying, oh yes, The Kill List is on my eagerly awaiting list too. Yes, exactly. I am such a huge fan of Nadine's, and she's just such a lovely person with such a lovely accent. I could listen to her talk all day. Julie saying, you have to read The Nothing Man.
I know.
I don't know.
It's like, yeah, I did an interview with Catherine, and she said, I asked her, like, which book should I start with next? And
Yeah.
she said, either The Nothing Man or Distress Signals. Like, she said, Distress Signals was my first book, but The Nothing Man, out of all my books, is my favorite. So The Nothing Man is definitely on my list. So I know I definitely want to read that one.
So I just looked up the link for Catherine Ryan Howard, who I'm now abbreviating as CRH. Here is The Nothing Man by CRH. I feel like you've made it if you're just initials. And Julie is saying that she is also a huge Catherine Ryan Howard fan. Absolutely. Debbie, welcome to the conversation. She wants to know, how soon after a book launches does your library typically get their copies to borrow?
So usually I want to say about a month or so, because we have to purchase. So we have this distributor and they purchase it, and then they have to process it, and then they ship it out to the branches. The ebook, the electronics, that can take a little longer because it's based on the licensing agreement that we have with the publisher. So it determines on what the publisher wants with the licensing agreement, because they can say, like, oh, it has to be like 6 weeks or 2 months after the book it has been released to the public, then the library can purchase copies to have it for circulation for free. So I want to say like 2 to 3 months about that. And then also it depends on how popular the book is. There might be a lot of holds, so you might have to wait a while after that.
Very cool to get the scoop here on hashtag library life. I'm learning a lot here as well. Debbie, thank you for that very cool question. And thank you for the scoop, Tabrizia. Margaret saying, I'm sorry, did someone say Scottish Highlands? So yeah, I think you have a fellow Scottish Highlands fan here
The
in
Black
the
House.
audience.
It's amazing. It's so far so good. And I visited the Scottish Highlands, and while reading this, I'm like, I need to go back because it's just the beautiful environment that Carol Johnson is describing. I'm like, I need to go back right now.
I've never been. Now you guys are making me want to go.
It's beautiful.
Um, Julie's clarifying that the overnight guest was Heather Gudenkauf.
Oh my
Yes,
god.
you're right. You're right, Julie. So Heather actually came on. I was thinking that Joanna Schaffhausen maybe I've hosted a couple of books with the same name. So not this name, but a couple of books I've hosted have had the same or very similar name. So I was thinking it was just new to me. So let me look up uh, Joanna Schaffhausen. Are you familiar with her, Tabrizia?
If so I must be mistaking her with someone else. So I'm probably not, unfortunately. I'm sorry
Okay.
about that,
No, no,
everyone.
no. No worries. I'm learning so many new ones. Debbie saying she likes Jen McKinley and Kate Carlisle's
Hmm.
cozy mystery series. Thank you for that recommendation, Debbie. And actually it's so funny, Julie, because I just had dinner with Joanna Schaffhausen recently at the MWA New England Crime Bake
Oh.
when we were there. She's such a nice person. And she loves basset hounds, and she has basset hounds, and I love basset hounds, so they're so cute with their big floppy ears. Julie saying the Ellery Hathaway series and the Annalisa Vega series. Oh yeah, the Annalise Vega series. I hosted that author. I'm blanking, of course. Now my brain is frozen. But yeah, those are two great series as well.
Okay.
Margaret saying Kate Carlisle sounds like a knitter. Is this true, Tabrizia?
I think I think she is, but I'm not too sure. I have to do my librarian thing and research and do like a library catalog search and to look it up. But I believe so. I believe.
Oh my gosh, Julie, come to Crime Bake next year. I don't know where you're based, but it is it's the Mystery Writers of America New England Crime Bake. I think it's been going on for 40 years. I just spoke there about authors podcasting. So everybody's super friendly, everybody's super open. So come up to Boston and hang out with Joanna Schaffhausen and all these other amazing authors from all over the world. Margaret is saying, Annalisa Vega character is for Joanna Schaffhausen's What's It? Okay, thank you. Okay, cool. Sweet Liz saying, oh my gosh, that sounds fun. It's so fun. So you just go panel to panel to panel, and you sit on all your favorite authors talking about all the favorite things. Another chance to do that is Thriller Fest in New York City.
Mhm.
And an incredible lineup. They just announced their lineup today. It is thrillerfest.com. So check that out as well. You can just go panel to panel to panel here for Michael Connolly, Karen Slaughter, Charlene Harris, Walter
Wow.
Mosley, Oyankin Braithwaite, an incredible lineup. Margaret, you are not forced to eat clams. Sit right down. Simmer down. There is not a clam to be seen. um, oh my gosh. Okay, Tabrizia, tell us some more of your fabulous recommendations.
Okay, so I can go now. I'm going to probably go in a little bit of the YA sphere. So
Ooh,
I'm going to
okay.
go because I do work with the YA audience, the teen audience. So there are some mysteries that I've read that are for teens. So if you are looking for like a good teen mystery, I would say the latest one, Five Survive by Holly Jackson,
Ooh.
and it is So Holly Jackson is the author of the best-selling series A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. So this
Yes.
is so this is her latest book after A Good Girl's Guide to Murder completed. She decided to
Ooh.
write this one. So you have these teenagers. They're in this RV, and their RV breaks down, and then all of a sudden they are being enclosed in there with a sniper. A sniper is just like shooting bullets into them, and they're saying that none of them are going to survive unless one of them gives a secret. So it is like a very locked room thriller that is happening in, like, I want to say 24 hours, and it's so intense, and it just like you have yourself hooked from beginning to end. I spent an entire weekend reading it because I was like, I need to know what is happening. And Holly Jackson does such a wonderful job in doing that. And I want to say the next one is for in the YA sphere is Harold Lake by Kat Ellis. So, and again, this is going to be a lot of British authors, but but Harold Lake takes place in the United States, though, even though Kat Ellis is British. So you have this young girl. She is like the daughter of this famous movie director, producer of horror movies, and something happens to him in his home, and she has to be sent to live with her grandmother, a grandmother that on her mother's side, a mother that she assumed that abandoned her. But these kind of same like little weird happenings are happening in this very small town in the Midwest, and it's kind of tie in with the movie that her father created in that same small town. So it's like really great for readers who love like Friday the 13th or the Scream series. So it sounds like it's like an amazing, great mystery. It's I feel like teens and also adults would absolutely like it because it's like very quick and very fast. And the same thing with Five Survive by Holly Jackson. They're very both intense, and they really dive into the story, and it gets you hooked from beginning to end.
Ooh. Oh my goodness. These are all new to me. So this is so cool. Thank you so much for these wonderful recommendations to Bridget. This is so great. Um, you all, we are actually out of time. We are way over time, but time flies when you're having this much fun and we're just vibing with Teresa and nerding out over mysteries and thrillers, which is obviously our jam. I am loving all of these recommendations, hearing some of my, favorite authors and some authors that are brand new to me. So this has been amazing. Teresa, anything you want to leave us with? Anything else you want to share with us?
Um, and you can find more book recommendations on my blog, Cup of Tea with That Book, Please. I'm available on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you want to go ahead, head to my website, you can subscribe to my newsletter, and where I give other great more book recommendations and blog posts highlighting different books. So yeah, I would love to hear from everyone. And yeah, thank you so much for having me here.
Yay. No, it's been so great. So everybody, here is Tabrisia's website. So that is cup of tea with that book, please.com. Tabrisia, how did you come up with that name, by the way?
Oh, I was just, I really, it was like something random. It's like I was trying to figure out a way, um, typing random names into WordPress, and they were like saying, "Oh, that's taken. Nope,
That's
that's
take.
taken." And then I think there was a book and a cup of tea by me, and I was like, "Oh," and it just came together. It was like a cup of tea with that book. And then there's like a cup of tea with that book, please. So and it just came together like that.
Well, and it's so perfect because you love British books, and that is very British. So that's perfect. Sweet Liz saying, this is such a fun episode. Thank you. Wasn't this so fun? I had
Yeah.
so much fun. I feel so excited.
Yeah.
You guys, here is to Breesia's Instagram. So she is at Cup of Tea Jones because she is Tabrizia Jones. So everybody click over and give her a follow, Cup of Tea Jones, so you can keep up with all her amazing recommendations, because it was so great how you know could customize recommendations for each person, and providing literally something for everyone. So keep everybody go follow her so that you can see what else she's recommending on Instagram, and I'm going to pop the link for Facebook in as well. So yay. Tabrizia, thank you so much for coming on, and for all of these recommendations. Here, let me pop the Facebook link up as well. So you guys, here is the Facebook link. I'm just going to pop that up as well so you can follow A Cup of Tea with That Book, aka Tabrizia Jones. So
Yeah.
give her a follow, keep up with all her amazing recommendations. Tabrizia, you have to come back again. This was so fabulous.
I would love to come back. Thank you so much.
Yeah. We could nerd out about books all day long.
Yes.
All right, y'all. I will be back next Mystery Monday with more killer recommendations. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you then. Have a great night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.